record. Okay, excuse me. Good morning. This is the December 21st, 2023 meeting of the Syracuse Board of Review. This hearing is being held via video conference call, a WebEx, at the following locations: Hughes State Office Building, main hearing room, first floor, 333 East Washington Street, Syracuse, New York, 13202. The time now is 9:35 and this hearing is officially open. The members of the board are to my far left, Gail Swistak; to my right, Andrew Garlock; to my left, Jeffrey Hinderleiter. My name is C. Thomas Parsons. I am the chairman. From the Department of State, we have Mr. Thomas DiTullio. We will now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please address the board and give your name, title, legal address so that our court reporter can have all the information requested. We may have to stop from time to time to consult with our technical staff. In making comments to the board, please provide a descriptive narrative on matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter these into the record. We will now hear our first hearing in the matter of Hallam ICS petition number 2023-0571. And let me bring up the application. Okay. And the petitioner is Eric Cassidy from Hallam ICS. And the petitioner is requesting a variance for an H4 occupancy for section 415.4 requirement for automatic sprinkler system. And they're requesting a relief from the omission of an automatic sprinkler system. Okay, do we have the applicant?
Yes.
All right, just come forward to the dais. Make sure, do we have some, Mr. DiTullio, can we swing that? So. All right, I think we've got it. Okay, state your name and your address.
Good morning. I'm William Neuberger, Neuberger, from Hallam ICS. Eric Cassidy is with me.
Okay.
Our address is 107 Hermes Road, Hermes Road, Malta, New York.
Okay. Go ahead and we have your application, but go ahead and just give us a narrative of what you're seeking.
Good morning. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate everyone listening to us and having an opportunity to come in person. It's much appreciated. I'm here today as my name is Bill, our subject matter expert for hazardous materials and process safety. My colleague Eric, project manager, and also the owners with us today, Mark Kassler. He's from the owner of the site. The site is Wolfspeed in Marcy, New York. They operate a semiconductor fabrication facility there. It's a very new building, and they've recently started production on a more higher scale. And they use nitric oxide in their process to produce silicon carbide semiconductors. Their final product ends up as power supplies, radio frequency equipment, electric vehicles, other power applications. And our firm, we are working for the owner. We are a consulting engineering firm with a focus on semiconductor and similar processes work. And their use of this material, nitric oxide, or NO, it's nitric oxide, so it's one nitrogen, one oxygen molecule. They use it in compressed gas form, so it comes in cylinders. It's a oxidizing material, and it's also a highly toxic material. The lethal concentration 50 is 115 parts per million, so it's a highly toxic material in addition to being oxidizing. They procure this material in compressed gas cylinders. They're each 53 standard cubic feet. They operate when they're full, they're 500 psig. Each cylinder is about 7 inches in diameter, 46 inches tall. And they change them as part of their process. The gas flows to their equipment and it's used to make their products. And they seek to store, because of their production ramp, they need to store as many as 100 cylinders at a time. And they don't have space in their existing fabrication building. They have a gas room where many gases they store. They don't have enough space there. So they're proposing to construct a new building, detached building, sort of at the edge of their site, inside their fence, to store these cylinders, and the only purpose of this building would be to store the cylinders. The new building we're proposing is about 24 feet by 14 feet. There's an 8-foot roof, single-story concrete floor. It has non-combustible walls with a 4-hour fire rating, non-combustible roof with a 3-hour fire rating. We'll have an exhaust with a ventilation rate of 1 CFM per square foot. There'll be a building fire alarm system in the building connected to the site fire alarm system. And there'll be a hazardous gas monitoring system, also SLAM TGMS, toxic gas monitoring system. And that will have local notification in the space for alerting you to evacuate. It'll have a strobe on the outside to tell you not to enter if gases are detected. And it'll also remotely enunciate at the site's emergency control station, which I know Cornell University has been here recently and been talking with you about their H5 space and their emergency control station. So can I ask that the board is familiar with the idea of emergency control station? I want to make sure I'm not going too fast.
No,
Okay.
you all understand. Go ahead, give them a brief synopsis of what emergency
Sure.
control
So
station.
when you operate an H5, the fire code requires you, H5 occupancy is semiconductor. When you operate an H5 occupancy, the fire code requires you to have an emergency control station on site. And it's defined very clearly in chapter 12. I'll skip all of those details, but it's essentially a place where it's constantly staffed with folks that are trained in how to call the right people. And in instance, and then when you are H5, you have to have an emergency response team. That's also defined in the code. That's defined in chapter 4 of the building code. And those folks are present at the site, Wolf Speed site. So this new detached building they'll treat it the same way they treat their existing square foot process building where they store these hazardous materials. So we're intending to build this like we would anything else at a semiconductor site with all of the monitoring, alarming, and notification horn strobes. When I say notification, I mean horn strobes. And the way we're going to operate it, again, the narrative is their vendor who brings cylinders will come on their own pace to deliver full cylinders and take away empty cylinders from the building. And the staff from Wolfspeed will bring empty cylinders from their process building, take full cylinders back to their process building. So it'll be sort of a way station for the material, and the building will be empty all the time except for when someone's in there bringing full or bringing empty cylinders. The place where we're going to become H4 and H3 is fire code and building code have the maximum allowable quantities. And the more strict is for highly toxic in a single-story unsprinkled building. We're limited to 20 standard cubic feet of highly toxic gas. Each one of our cylinders is 530 standard cubic feet, so we're clearly well above the MAQ. As the building code tells you to do, when you want to exceed MAQ for highly toxic, you build an H4 space. For oxidizing, we're also oxidizing, where you build an H3. So we're proposing that we would classify this building as H3 and H4. We would follow all of the H3 and H4 code requirements from the building code in chapter 4, with 2 exceptions that we're here today to request from them. Our 2 requests are to avoid an automatic sprinkler system. So automatic sprinklers are required in all H occupancies. And we also wish to not store the gases in gas cabinets. Those are 2 requirements of the fire and building codes.
Where are you getting the gas cabinets? Because essentially your building is a gas room. Once you're in a gas room,
Yep.
don't need a cabinet.
Agreed.
And you don't need a compartment. The only thing you really need is ventilation.
Agreed.
Okay. So here's my question for you right up front.
Sure.
H3, how many different products fall into the H3 category?
Oxidizing gases, there's so
And
many.
H4s.
Right.
So my concern is, while you look at NO, which if it's released, you get nitrogen dioxide, which mixed with water, you get nitric acid. Probably not necessarily need a sprinkler system. The problem comes is when we bring other materials in an H3, which fall under H3 category, or other products that fall under H4 category, which are compatible, but if they both leak, or like combustibles.
Right.
You got a rapid oxidizer, and there's a leak.
Oh, that's terrible.
You got a problem.
100% agree.
So what I'm seeing here is that if we do grant relief on this, and the other piece is you've offered no mitigation We just said, we don't want to pay 200,000 for it. That's to us,
Yes.
we're going to get into financials saying, well, wait a second, how much 100 cylinders of NO gas cost?
Right.
Which is not cheap.
No, it is not.
No, so I want to get back to, do we really need a sprinkler system for NO gas and cylinders? I'd say my understanding of it is no. However, the room can be used for other storage.
Agreed.
So if we put on a requirement that it's only nitrogen oxide or nitric oxide stored in there, that's all that's going to be stored in there, and it's only cylinders. So if you want to change, you're going to have to come back, and you may have to put a sprinkler system in.
I will make that promise on.
No,
behalf
it's going to be in the, if we're going to do a variance, that's
Right.
speaking for myself. We've got three other members are going to have their own opinion.
If I was in your chair, I would do the exact same thing.
Yeah. So, couple of things. Do you have to put a catalytic on treatment on the back end of the ventilator or not?
So it's a question, and it's a hard question to answer. And normally, yes, if we had a gas cabinet where we were using these gases, it was connected to mechanical fittings.
If you have it on a room,
question.
yeah, if you have it on a room, you still need it. If it's a gas room and you're moving that gas, you have to have a treatment for it. So I don't think regardless of cabinet, the room is just a large cabinet.
Essentially,
Yeah.
right. You can't call it a gas cabinet. A gas cabinet is defined very specifically.
Absolutely.
Right.
But when you have a room, it's assumed that it's because of your situation where you've got 100 cylinders, you can't put them all in a cabinet.
Right.
But you still need to be able to process one leaking tank. That's the minimum.
Right.
The other out of this is, do you have a containment vessel?
So we're doing what we propose, and we're here to talk about it, but we would propose to do what most semiconductor folks do, which is their vendor has the containment vessel. And if you have a leak, you call them and you leave the cabinet where it is, you let ventilation do its job. And the vendor shows up who has the trained staff and the equipment to pick it up, put it in there, because I'll ask Mark.
You will have, also, we have a contract with a company. The logistics of keeping the coffin in certification it's too much. It's better to pay a company to have the coffins and have the program set up.
Yeah, you're supposed to have it on site.
We do have we have a contractor for coffins for any of our gases.
What is their response time? For this company, what is their response time?
I don't have,
Like how far away are
I don't have that answer.
Can you identify yourself, name and address?
Oh,
Come up to the.
Yeah, all
podium,
right,
please.
thanks, Joe.
Just so the court reporter can
Yeah.
get who we
And
are.
then also they can't hear you said back
My
there.
name is Mark Kassler, MarkKasler, and 5770 Dick Road, with speed address. So directly, we have what we call leaker cabinets. So if we have a cylinder that's online supplying the fab, and our HPM system picks up a gas leak,
Right.
we have a proper response and an ERT team that comes and removes that cylinder and puts it in what we call a leaker cabinet. The leaker cabinet is connected to the proper exhaust system and everything for that gas. And then it stays in that cabinet until the coffin arrives from the company. So we have a way to handle any leaking cylinder. We would move it from this building to a leaker cabinet and then contact the company to bring the coffin. And that's how we handle it.
Yeah, here, typically you'd want them either really close by or on site. And I understand and I don't know, are they coming, where are they coming from for doing your?
Right, I don't have that. Info,
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, because let's say you have a bad valve, you gotta put it somewhere. In the cabinet, you're probably in a better situation because it's smaller, but when you have when you have the gas room, it's gonna be ventilated. You can essentially ventilate the whole thing. What I'm concerned about, it's heavier than air. When nitrogen dioxide is heavy, it's gonna come out, it's gonna stay low to the ground. gets sucked up by a diesel engine or any internal combustion engine, it becomes a problem without a scrubber. So I guess that's kind of where I'm heading at is that, you know, if you're not gonna have the containment, then then the question comes back is putting the treatment on the back end of the ventilation.
That's certainly possible. You could do a catastrophic scrubber, a dry bed, a catastrophic scrubber would serve that role.
Yeah, and I think you're only required to do one cylinder's worth. I think
Yeah.
that's the size.
The section of the fire code that requires it we could argue about it for a whole day if we want to. We
No,
always put them in, and I don't want to argue, but it's,
No,
yeah.
what I just don't want to see happen is that we end up having a secondary problem with this.
Right.
And also I just want to make a point that while you referenced, chapter 4, we also got to look at chapter 6. It's got the requirement for the sprinkler for gas rooms. So that's,
Right.
I think
The
we'll have
sprinkler
to,
requirements in many places.
yeah, I think we'll want to make sure this chapter 6 or chapter 60 is referenced to it.
Oh, in chapter 60, right,
Yeah.
right. So the construction requirements come out of the building code.
Right.
Chapter 4.
Chapter 60 in the fire code is where the requirements for
Right.
fully sprinkler. So,
Right.
because it's chapter,
Because chapter 60 would cover gas rooms.
yeah. The other thing is, chapter 53 comes in where they have the state has this new section, which is really written for carbon dioxide, but it looks like it may pertain because it's not otherwise specified. So I think you're complying in those areas. So, okay. So let me just get this. So I summarize this. Basically 2-hour walls on this,
4-hour wall.
4 hours, 3-hour roof. You got heater in that.
Heater.
What's the heater? What's electric
It's
heat?
electric.
Okay. And does it shut down if we have a leak or something so we don't?
We can make it so we haven't designed that aspect yet.
And the air conditioning unit, is that moving air in and out or how's
It's
that?
just ventilation, no cooling, no mechanical cooling, ventilation cooling. No.
Okay, so how are we taking, if there's a leak, is the air conditioner shutting down to?
Well, we have an exhaust fan separate from the heater. The heater would be like a UV heater,
Yeah, but I'm talking about the air conditioner.
no air conditioning.
Oh, there's no air conditioning. Okay, I think I saw in the unit, they had an AC on the drawing.
AC exhaust below. it.
I would not want air conditioning in this building.
Well, it's, your fabricator's got one
Doesn't
in.
say exhaust, AC exhaust, it is on there.
Yes.
Well, if we end up getting that, which I advise my client not to, but if we do get it, we'll turn it off also.
Okay. When you do vent this thing, vent it in any other direction than where a vehicle's gonna be.
Yeah,
Or lawnmower or anything. So, the other thing you'd want to see is that not only we're gonna have to put signage on it, so the code enforcement officer knows that one is, it's only nitric oxide in there. 2 is there are no combustibles allowed or any other materials allowed to be stored inside. Believe it or not, there's people who just see open space.
oh, and they put cardboard boxes full of plastic cups, yes.
Hence my reluctance about your
I
sprinklers
understand.
and stuff.
100% understand. One thing we have going for us is this place is like a prison, right? You can't even get onto the site without the security gate. And then to go to where this building is, it's another layer of security past another human person to get you to where this neighborhood is.
Okay,
And we're more than 55 feet away from any other structure, fence, anything.
just the driveway. That's
Just the drive, and it's not a commonly used drive, right? That entrance is not the normal entrance for employees. That is the entrance used for hazardous materials.
okay. You said you had water supply. You said you had to go 600 feet for water supply, but then you have a fire hydrant 90 feet away. Help me out.
Do you remember more of that?
Yeah,
Say your name. Yeah.
Eric Cassidy with Hallam ICS. So the fires water sprinkler system hasn't been designed, but if we were to bring water from the Cub, that's several hundred feet away versus the existing fire hydrant, that's just 100 feet away. So
Okay.
perhaps there's a way to tie in closer.
Do you guys own the hydrant or have control of the hydrant water supply?
We'd have to look into that.
Okay. Yeah, I understood the price when you said 600 feet, but then you threw me when you put down there, you had a hydrant 90 feet away. Because it's not gonna be $200,000 if you got 100 feet of pipe and, yeah.
Yeah, with the design, with the labor, and materials, that was a price.
What's the manufacturer charge you to produce the sprinkler piping and the system in it?
The existing building,
No, you gotta, this is I assume-
Rebuilding.
it's a new building, but it's fabricated, right?
Right.
Off-site.
Yes.
Eric,
Come on up, Eric.
I'll yell at you again.
no, thanks. So the additional cost for Securo, who's the manufacturer of the new structure,
Okay,
they would not be involved in putting in a sprinkler system.
okay,
So the contractor who
okay.
is designing the pad in the whole area would have to come in and do that work as well.
Okay, because when I went to the site, it looked like Securall actually pre-installs some of that stuff, so that's why I was wondering.
They may have some construction trailers on site for other projects, but this one specifically, that's what they've told us
Okay,
as far as water.
okay, all right. I asked all the questions. Let me pose it to my colleagues here.
Yeah, what's the total cost of the project without the sprinkler system?
Tell me, I'll say so.
Yeah, come on up front, or you're gonna answer that question.
So the cost of the building, the new building is $200,000, give or take, just to buy it. We're also putting in a new pad for the structure to live on. We're doing new lighting, new fence around the new building, so probably less $900,000 for all the work required to do this, maybe less, just to put it over there.
900,000,
Yeah,
200 for the building, and then
so, yeah, I mean, I'm not a price estimator, but to put in a 60-foot by 70-foot concrete pad, new fencing, security, bring power up to it, yeah. 900,000.
Yep, you're gonna have this on emergency power, sorry.
We certainly can.
Actually, I think it's required, so,
Well, it's required.
Yeah, ventilation has to be on emergency power.
yeah, thanks.
Ventilation has to be on emergency power.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay.
We don't come to these very often, so.
That's all
I
right.
just yell at you once in a while.
It's all
Just
right.
give me a dirty look, it's okay. I speak dirty look.
Sorry about that.
no, you're,
Yeah, it just clicked in my head. I
Yeah.
forgot about it. You mentioned power.
Yeah.
Okay.
You hit my concern, it's a heavier than air gas, and it was the orientation of the building. The site plan and the scanned package was difficult to read, so I looked at the printed version. Looks like the building's approximately 80 to 100 feet away from your bulk gas storage yard.
Yep.
Um,
I can talk about the distances if you want me to talk about them.
That was my main, I just wanted in the record to know, because the digital was hard to see, for about 80 feet, what's the closest gas to that?
So the closest gas is Silane. You see it says Silane pad there.
Yep,
Silane in New York and every place I've ever worked, the code requirements for Silane are from Compressed Gas Association G13 code. G13 code talks about distances between the cylinder of Silane, the container, and of incompatible materials. The longest distance of any of the tables in that code is 52 feet. We are 55 feet, and also the G13 code allows us to go to 0 feet if we have a 30-minute rated, fire resistance rated barrier in between, and we have a 4-hour barrier in between. So the most incompatible material of the site is certainly silent, pyrophoric. When exposed to air, it turns into fire and sand. It's a very dangerous material, which is why we store it outdoors. But we are 2 times not 2 times, we're the further code distance, and we have a fire barrier that's 8 times more hours or longer. So we're well above any code requirements for that. The bulk gas yard that's present otherwise is, all of those materials are non-hazardous. We have argon and nitrogen. Do you have oxygen?
Yeah,
We have oxygen.
that's the nitrogen. Even,
Right, so we have argon, oxygen, and nitrogen. I'm repeating them. So, and those gases are all either
I'm sorry to interrupt, but whoever's speaking is gonna have to come up because I have no idea who's talking.
Don't worry, Annette, I just gave him the dirty looks of all time.
Thank you.
Castler again, we have nitrogen, bulk oxygen, bulk argon, and we have an ISO container with hydrogen. I don't know what else is that.
It's reaching that.
No. Scrubbers gonna take it out. And it's gonna be, it's, again, you're talking one cylinder release. That's all they have to pay for.
Okay.
So,
Another measure of safety, just to share that we think about when we leave this proposal is they fill the cylinder at the plant, not our plant, the vendor. We check it, they put the steel cap on, and that cylinder, that cap doesn't come off. Right, it goes on the truck, it comes off the truck, goes into our building, cap stays on, gets taken out of our building, goes to the process building, cap stays on. It's not until the gas cylinder is in the gas cabinet does that cap come off.
the cap is really, it's a physical barrier.
It's a physical
It's a
steel
physical
cap.
barrier to prevent the valve from being
Yeah,
damaged.
you
But
can't-
if you have a leaky valve,
Yeah, like an acetylene tank top.
yeah.
So if it tips over,
If it tips over, it's not, you don't knock the valve off and create a little
Yeah.
torpedo, which
The only-
already has happened in the
the only reason you got a leaky valve is if you got a small piece of particulate would seep, but typically it's structural damage. It's a slow leak and even structural damage. So that's why I asked about the containment of the leak. What was the quantity again in the,
100
First-
cylinders.
no, one cylinder, what's the quantity in it?
53 cubic. I think, let me just double check.
53.
Thank you.
Thanks, I just. Okay.
within the structure, because I think on the drawings just show blockouts, but the racks, I assume, have safety measures
Right, so
to
the,
prevent them from falling.
right, the fire code and NFPA 55, which is referenced out of the fire code.
Yep.
Requires securing. Securing is vague, unfortunately, in both of those codes. We always want to go with chains. We think metal is better than the nylon webbing, but they're both allowed by code.
And so they'll all be stood up and stuff. So
Yeah, they'll be stood up and chained.
how do you transport it? You got a cart or something?
You gotta come back, Marvin.
Can you repeat the question?
How do you transport them back and forth to the main facility? You got a cart or are you gonna transport them in a vehicle?
We use an outside forklift and we've got pallets that are special built for our cylinder.
Okay, that's what I figured. But are you actually gonna move the pallets with the cylinders inside and then slide the pallets?
No, the building, when the truck comes, it'll come on an open, it usually comes on an open truck.
Okay, all right.
They use a lift gate to get them on the ground and we roll them out.
Yeah, I didn't know if you're actually bringing them up.
Nah, the building won't be large enough.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I really don't, the sprinkler's not gonna do anything for this, really.
That's
That,
fine.
really, it's just the argument of whether you need a sprinkler on this. If we just lock this thing down in this variance, that it's signage, the only commodity, only material that can be stored in there is the nitric oxide or nitrogen oxide. And this is the cylinder size, then as long as anything you change, say you want to go to bulk tanks, bulk storage, bulk vessels, you're gonna have to come back because we'll have another. We're just,
Understood. That's completely fair.
all right. I mean, I don't see you changing cylinders. I mean, unless something significantly changes in your processes. Because those cylinders can only fit in a certain cart cabinet and
Because it's nitric oxide and because of the shipping regulations on nitric,
yeah.
the 44s that we're filling aren't even completely full. They've got the max amount allowed by DOT. And we would love to get larger containers and have less cylinders, but that's not an option if you're going to ship it. So
Right.
we have our max capacity in the cylinders. That's how they get to the site. That's what we've got to do.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so on the site plan, the orientation of the building, it shows it coming to a hammerhead parking area. But on the fabricator drawings, it shows a double set of doors are on the long side of the building. So is the building going to actually be oriented for the long side against the hammerhead? Or are you gonna have a pad to go around?
So
Just to clarify.
the drawing is the pad, not the building.
Okay,
So we'll be orienting the doors, so the doors are opening toward where the forklift or truck will be.
so the pad, so it'll be perpendicular to the pad?
And we're gonna have to do that, or we're gonna have to move the doors. We haven't finalized the.
Oh,
purchase.
okay.
We haven't finalized the purchase yet because when we were doing our code study in the beginning, we realized there was
Yeah.
this issue. We had to come here first.
Okay. That's it for me.
Yeah, I think the reality here is that sprinkler's not going to change the safety.
That's our
Yeah,
premise.
I mean, I think that's more of a better argument for the variance than the actual price.
Oh, yeah, honestly, that was my only reason. I wouldn't come here just for money. These people have so much money.
I hate to say, you put the cost of it as
Yeah.
justification, so I think you should always not go that way when you're dealing
That's
with
why I
that.
can't see a dirty look at my colleague over there.
Okay,
But yeah, our premise is that having sprinklers doesn't offer any additional safety.
right. As
Because
long
we
as,
have nothing that burns.
as long as we follow everything that's there, that you're gonna put the scrubber in, since you don't have the coffin or the containment vessel. Yeah, that would be the only thing I would ask, if you were ever to do something like this, again, that mitigation of having the containment, but you have a response to that, there you go, I knew, response team, come forward, tell me about your response
They
team.
definitely have one.
Okay, so, yeah, because we're in the semiconductor industry, we have permanent ERT members on staff on every shift. And then they're supplemented with specialists for whatever area. We have a contractor, Air Liquide, that takes care of all of our spec gases and chemicals. And our ERT team works with them if there's ever an incident.
Okay,
So,
do you work with the fire department, the code enforcement official with your
yeah,
response?
they come out and do all their regular checks and yes.
Whose fire department is,
We're using Utica.
City of Utica is your fire
Marcy's
department?
a volunteer, so I believe that is the.
They have it's their hazardous
Yes.
response. Okay. When you drill, you're doing your quarterly drills, the emergency response team, do you bring the fire department in to work?
They do. Yes, that's not my area, but yes, they do. They are on site on a regular basis,
Okay. How many people, you're a 24/7 operation?
24/7.
Okay. And how many ERTs do you have on duty?
I don't believe it's ever below one per shift for the lead.
One per
And
shift?
then, but every shift has, the shifts are 12-hour shifts, front half and back half, 4 days on, 3 days off.
Yep.
And every shift has a full team of ERT. One is just an ERT member. The others are specialists from other groups. If there's an ERT call, they leave the engineering roles or whatever role they have.
Okay.
Join the ERT team.
Okay. It's kind of a bare minimum, I guess. All right. Thank you. All right. Well, you got any more questions? No questions? Questions? Okay. We'll probably lock this down pretty tight. So what you're telling us is what we're going to put in the variance, and signage will be required. It's going to be clearly marked as nitric oxide storage only. No combustion. Sign this as no other material, no combustibles, no other materials allowed to be stored up in the building. It needs to be on the outside, on the inside of the building. And if somebody goes and stores paper cups in there, I mean, not that it's gonna be a problem.
Right.
It's only a problem if it leaks and finds ignition source, but the darn stuff is pretty potent.
It is. What I feel good about, so you're absolutely right. If you build a storage area, like goldfish grow to the size of their tank, storage areas attract things. What we have going for us is this is almost as far as you can be on the site without going through the fence.
Yeah.
So human nature is not to say, oh, I have a cardboard box full of paper cups. Let me go as far as I can and put them in that building. There's plenty of other inappropriate places along the way.
Yeah, it's the weed whacker, snow blower, lawnmower situation.
Yeah,
Kevin? Any questions, anything? All right, we're gonna deliberate on this case, so we're gonna take a recess. We'll be back in about 15 minutes.
okay. So we'll go out in the lobby and then
Yep.
we'll come back in.
Yep.
Thank you.
Now we can go on to,
Off the record tonight?
off the record.
We're on the record.
Okay, we are now back in our hearing out of recess. We'll be discussing petition number 2023-0571. Alum ICS is the petitioner. And do I have a motion?
You do.
Tindalater.
Petition pertains to a variance seeking relief from, or a pre-manufactured storage building, construction type 2, B, 1-story in height, located at the Wolfspeed Mohawk Valley Fabrication Campus at 5757 Marcy SUNY Parkway, Town of Marcy, County of Oneida, New York State. The public notice was published in the New York State Register's November 22nd, 2023 issue. The petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1221, the 2020 Building Code of New York State, Section 415.4, automatic sprinkler system, which states Group H occupancy shall be equipped throughout with an automatic sprinkler system in accordance with Section 903.2.5, and from 19 NYCRR Part 1225, the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, Section 6004.2.2.6, gas rooms, which states gas rooms shall be equipped with an approved automatic sprinkler system. Based on testimony and the documentation presented, the board makes the following findings of fact. 1, the subject petition pertains to a pre-manufactured storage building located at the Wolfspeed Mohawk Valley Fabrication Campus at 5757 Marcy SUNY Parkway, Town of Marcy, County of Oneida, New York State. 2, the subject petition pertains to an unsprinklered pre-manufactured storage building of type 2B construction, 1-story in height, totaling approximately 317 square feet. 3, the subject building occupancy is correctly classified per Part 1221, Section 307.5, High Hazard Group H3, which states, yes, sir.
1 second. H3 and group H4.
H3 and Group H4. Restating fact 3, the subject building occupancy is correctly classified for Part 1221, Section 307.5, High Hazard Group H3 and Group H4, which states that buildings and structures containing materials that readily support combustion or that pose a physical hazard shall be classified as a Group H3. Such materials shall include, but not be limited to, the following oxidizing gases, which exceed the allowed amounts per Table 307.12. 4, the subject building construction is properly classified per Part 1221, Section 602.2, Types 1 and 2, which states that Types 1 and 2 construction are those types of construction in which the building elements listed in Table 601 are of non-combustible materials, except as permitted in Section 603 and elsewhere in this code and known as an unprotected, non-combustible structure. 5, the petitioner states in Exhibit 1 summary that the proposed building is to be used only for the storage of nitric oxide cylinders. Nitric oxide is a highly toxic gas used in the fabrication of microchips and semiconductors at the facility. 6, the petitioner states in Exhibit 1 summary that due to the purposeful remote location, there is no available water service, which prevents the proposed manufactured structure to include an automatic sprinkler system as required in per Part 1221, Section 415.4, which states that the automatic sprinkler system Group H occupancy shall be equipped throughout with an automatic sprinkler system in accordance with Section 903.2.5. 7, the petitioner states in Exhibit 1 summary that the proposed building will have detection and alarms as required by Section 415.5. 8, the petitioner states that no cylinder tanks will be stored in multiple storage racks throughout the proposed building, and that this will be the main storage location for no cylinders not in use at the production facility, thus reducing the quantity and locations of control areas in the production building, and is seeking relief from Section 415.10.4, storage cabinets. 9, the petitioner states in Exhibit 1 summary that the building's design is to store up to 100 cylinders at a maximum with some cylinders being depleted and awaiting return to the gas supplier. 10, the petitioner notes that each full cylinder contains approximately 53 cubic feet of gas, and that table 307.12 states that an oxidizing gas that exceeds the allowed tabular value of 1,500 CFM per control area is to be classified as an H3 hazard versus an H4 hazard with less than 1,500 CFM per control area. 11, the addition of an automatic fire sprinkler system in the proposed enclosure will not practically affect the fire safety of the enclosure. A, the building and internal components are non-combustible. B, the owner will not store any combustible ancillary materials in the building. C, nitric oxide is not flammable. D, the enclosure is planned with 4-hour rated walls and a 3-hour rated roof. These are above the 1-hour rating requirements of section 415.10 of the Building Code of New York State. E, automatic fire detection is included as required by section 415.3 of the Building Code. 12, the petitioner provided a construction estimate that the sprinkler system, including the installation of the water service, would be approximately $200,000. The cost exceeds the expense of the proposed structure. 13, Part 1221, Section 415.10.4 and Table 307.12 states that all oxidizing gases are required to be stored in approved gas cabinets or gas rooms. The petitioner states the proposed building is acting as a single gas room. 14, the enclosure is storage. Personnel are only present during A, storing or removing cylinders, B, maintenance activities, or C, responding to alarms. 15, the petitioner states the following. A, the enclosure is a standalone building not connected to any building or occupied space in a secure location on the owner's campus. B, the building is inaccessible to the public or unauthorized untrained individuals. C, a manual emergency alarm is included as required by section 415.5 of the Building Code. D, gas detection features required by section 6004.2.2.10 of the Fire Code of New York State will be present. E, the gas detection alerts at a continuously staffed location in the owner's main building. There will also be notification inside and outside the building if nitric oxide is detected. F, the owner stores, transports, and uses hazardous gases as a regular course of their business in the existing process building. 16, the local code official has been consulted in this matter and supports the granting of the variance. In view of the above findings, testimony, and documentation presented before it, the board finds that strict compliance with the code would entail a change so slight as to produce a negligible benefit consonant with the purpose of the code. The granting of this variance will not substantially adversely affect the Uniform Code's provisions for health, safety, and security. Wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from 19 NYCRR Part 1221, Section 415.4 and 415.10.4 and 19 NYCRR Part 1225, Section 6004.2.2.6 be and is hereby proposed to be granted with the following conditions. 1, storage shall be limited to only nitric oxide cylinders with a maximum capacity of 53 cubic feet per cylinder as described in the application. Signage shall be applied to the interior and exterior of the structure indicating content restrictions, including no other materials, equipment, or tools permitted to be stored. 2, installation of an appropriate gas treatment system on the exhaust ventilation system. 3, a toxic gas alarm system and a fire alarm system shall be installed, reporting directly to the Emergency Control Center. And 4, emergency power shall be provided for the fire alarm and ventilation systems. I so move.
You need to do one amendment to finding of fact 3. Just give me 1 second here. Bear with me 1 second, Annette. We gotta do slight change here.
Language there, 307.9.
Yeah, 307.6. We're gonna amend 3 to include that high hazard group H4, which includes buildings and structures containing mill materials that are health hazards, shall be classified as group H4. Such materials shall include, but not be limited to, the following: corrosives, highly toxic materials, and toxic materials. Well, Mr. Hindelater's typing that addition up. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'll pull the board.
I second.
Okay. Ms. Swistek seconds. I'll pull the board. Mr. Garlock. Ms. Swistek.
Aye.
Mr. Hindelater.
Aye, as amended.
Chair votes aye. 4 ayes, no nays. And the petition is granted. It should be noted this decision is limited to the specific building and application before it, as contained within petition, and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. And this case is, and hearing is now concluded.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have to do anything else, or are we?
Now, what's gonna happen now is when we have a transcript received from our transcript person here and that, I will then take this transcript along with the board summary I put together and rate the decision that you just heard. And then you'll get a hard copy of that emailed to you. Then,
Thank you very kindly.
and also the code official get it at the same time. So the owner, you, and the code official are on it. If you want more people, get it. Let me know.
If we need more people to stand ourselves, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I wish you all a nice holiday break and a good New Year.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next case. We're open the hearing for petition number 2023-0515, matter of David Giglio of Policy Properties LLC. This is for a variance of Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York State Multiple Residence Law. And the petitioner is requesting a relief from Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or the lower story, if there is no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system unless the ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. And the petitioner is requesting relief from the sprinkler system to install smoke and heat detectors in the basement that are interconnected with smoke detectors in the common stair and corridors. Okay, we have the applicant here. We have a representative for Policy Properties.
Muted.
Mr. Giglio, you might want to unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ken.
Hello? Okay, yeah, there's something wrong with my phone. Anyway, yeah, I'm here. This is Dave Giglio.
Yep. So do you have some additional information for us other than what's in the application?
Yes, I think the last time we adjourned, we were looking to get an estimate on a sprinkler system in the basement, limited sprinkler system. And I did call a licensed plumber from Syracuse, and his estimate was $12,000. Certainly seems nothing I can afford at this time, that's for certain. So maybe we can do something different, and that's my request here.
Okay. Do we have any more questions for the applicant? And again, this is a reopening of the case we heard already.
Appreciate you going and getting that estimate. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
What is your approximate income per month from the rentals?
You mean that particular property, or
Yes.
altogether?
Oh, that property.
That property. Well, I have a mortgage on it, so let's see, get $2,800 a month minus 100 for parking garage, minus 600 for taxes and insurance, minus 200 for water. I don't know if we're adding this up. 600.
No, I'm not. I'm hopefully you can give us an idea.
All right, let me write this down. 100 parking, 600 taxes and insurance, 200 for water. And obviously got a maintenance in there. So we got to figure 200 a month for maintenance. And let me see what else we get. Oh, this isn't. Let me see. Well, it's probably another 100 for plowing lawns. And you got to figure, 10%, 90% occupancy rate. So another 10%, 300, 500, 1100. The mortgage insurance, mortgage interest. Let me see, is 150, 7%, 10% of 150. 7,000, 10,000 a year. That's another 1,000 a month. So 14, 15, 16, 21, 23, 20, about 300 a month. That's 300 a month.
That's your profit on the building, it's 300 a month?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. See, last time we spoke, and I think it was you have penetrations in the basement that go up through the house with water pipes and ventilation stacks and things like that?
Yes.
Up.
I mean, that's the only way you're going to get it up there.
Yep. Okay.
And we could seal that with fire retarded foam. That would help seal those, whatever they are going up.
Yep. And that you can prevent, and as long as it's compatible with the pipe and the materials that you're going up to there, that's acceptable. What about storage? Do you store anything in the basement?
There's nothing down there. I mean, I was just down there. I had a foot of water. Lucky me.
You don't have a washer and dryer down there?
There isn't. No, there's no washers and dryers down there. There are hookups, but there's no washer and dryers.
Okay, and you have a furnace down there? The
Yes.
heating, for the heating of the building? Okay.
Yes.
Any questions? All right, I think we got all the answers. We got answers to the questions we have. I think we're going to take a few minutes and go in deliberation, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go off the record.
We're off the record. We're on the record.
Thank you. I neglected when we were prior to our recess, Mr. Foster, I see you here as a code enforcement official for Utica. Do you have any comments about the property? Any concerns?
I do not. I have no concerns. I'm in favor of the variance for this property located at 514, 516 Jefferson Avenue here in the city of Utica. During your off the record, during your deliberation, I was just asking Mr. Giglio if he had any written estimates, and he just gave me the number of someone to call, which he doesn't have a name of who he called, just a company and two numbers. So I would just like to put on the record that the fire marshal's office would like a written estimate, not a verbal estimate. So that's just, I just want to put that on the record.
Okay. I don't think at this point we're going to hold up our decision on getting an estimate. I think we looked at the numbers that they provided.
I agree with you.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. Giglio, I think there's a couple things we're going to put as far as restrictions on your application or granting your variance. One is you're not going to be able to use the basement for storage or use of appliances. And that, as we discussed prior to going to recess, about sealing the chases going up from the basement with some type of fire retardant material. And plus the smoke detection that you submitted in your, as far as mitigation for the sprinkler system. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, no,
Understood?
that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Foster, did you hear what we're going to require?
Absolutely. I'm in agreement, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we're going to ask signage to be placed in the basement prohibiting storage and the use of appliances.
Okay.
Okay, other than the furnace that's already down there, so. All right, so do
I do have hot water tanks too, just, okay.
Oh, that's fine, that's fine. Hot water furnaces, those are fine. Just washers, dryers, those things, no. No furniture storage, no mattress storage, no paint storage, anything like that. Okay. So regarding petition number 2023-0515, Policy Properties LLC, do I have a motion?
We do.
Swistak, go ahead and move.
Upon the application of David DiGiulio of Policy Properties LLC, 13 Hopper Street, Utica, New York, filed pursuant to 19 NYCRR 1205 on October 4th, 2023, and upon all other papers in this matter, the department makes the following determination. The petition pertains to a 3-family residence, 3 stories in height, type 5B construction, totaling 4,000 square feet, located at 514 Jefferson Avenue, City of Utica, County of Oneida, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residential Law, Article 3, Section 30, Cellar Ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or of the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retardant or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. The petitioner requests relief to install smoke and heat detectors in the basement that are interconnected to the smoke detectors in the common stairs and corridors. The facts. Number 1, the petition pertains to a 3-story in height, 3-dwelling unit apartment building located at 514 Jefferson Ave, City of Utica, County of Oneida, State of New York. Number 2, the building that is the subject of the petition is properly classified under Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residential Law, Article 1, Section 433, as a multi-dwelling. Number 3, the subject building is required to conform to the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, in that it existed on or before July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residential Law. Number 4, the building is subject to the petition, a 3-story wood frame, approximately 4,000 square feet in area, with a dwelling unit on each floor for 3 dwelling units in total. The building was constructed on or about circa 1910 as an apartment building. Number 5, the petitioner states in the narrative that the common areas and doors leading to the common areas are currently fire rated and are code compliant. Number 6, the petitioner states that there are smoke detectors in the basement and common areas, and all the detectors are interconnected. Number 7, the petitioner has provided photos noting the presence of plumbing, heating, and ventilation ducts and wiring on the ceiling. Number 8, the petitioner contends that installing a fire-rated gypsum board would be a physically impractical due to the extensive obstacles of which some of the mechanical equipment cannot be easily removed without shutting down the building and forcing tenants from their dwellings. Number 9, the petitioner has provided an email in which he states that a plumber visited the site and stated that the limited system will require an engineer design for about $4,000, and he estimates an installation cost of $8,000 if the 3/4 inch water service is adequate, for a total of $12,000. Number 10, the Utica Fire Marshal's inspection report states that the building is otherwise in compliance with all other local and state building codes and local ordinances. Number 11, the local code official has been consulted in this matter and supports the granting of the variance under Part 1205 with conditions provided by the board. Number 12, the building shall otherwise comply with all other local and state building codes and local ordinances. The proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the code's provisions for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance with the provisions of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties, economic hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden, would be physically or legally impracticable, would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without the loss in the level of safety, achieve the intended objective of the code. It is determined that the application for a variance from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Law of New York Municipal Residential Law, Article 3, Section 30, be and is hereby proposed to be granted with the following condition. Number 1, that the existing interconnected smoke alarm devices that are hardwired include 2 smoke alarm devices in the cellar. Also, smoke detectors and alarms are provided on each landing of the front and rear exit stairways, and that a heat alarm be provided on the occupied side of one entrance door to the 3 dwelling units. Number 2, the owner shall seal all penetrations and vertical chases at the basement ceiling in a manner approved by the fire code official. Number 3, the basement shall not be used for storage or use of appliances or furniture, including but not limited to mattresses and other combustible materials. Signage shall be placed in the basement prohibiting storage. I so move.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Garlick, second. So pull the board. Mr. Hinderleiter,
Aye.
Mr. Garlick,
Aye.
Ms. Swistak,
Aye.
the chair votes aye, 4 ayes, no nays. Variance is granted with conditions. Okay,
Thank you. Will you be sending me a letter in writing just to confirm that? So, because I have one tenant that's got a couple suitcases down there, and just to make sure that they understand that I'm not just being,
Yes,
A
what
bad
they'll
guy.
do is we're gonna finalize the decision, and they'll get sent to the board chair, Mr. Parsons, and he's gonna sign it, and once I receive that back, we'll send it to you and also to Mr. Foster, the fire marshal, and typically we send 1 copy to the building department also for the city of Utica.
okay, thank you.
okay, so we are going, so this case is closed and the hearing will move on to petition number 2023-0553, KA Rentals LLC. The applicant is seeking relief from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 28, stairs and entrance halls, as well as Chapter 61B of Consolidated Laws of New York Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 31, inside cellar stairs. And the petitioner requests relief to allow one door at the top of the basement stair that is not fire rated to remain, and at the bottom of the enclosed basement stair, the two doors located at the landing are both fire rated. Okay, and the petitioner is also seeking relief to allow paneling in the corridor to remain. Okay, do we have the applicant here? I think is, let's see.
I don't believe so. but-
Jasmine? Is there a representative of KA properties here or rentals?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
You just sent me the estimate, I forwarded it to you all.
Okay, I didn't see the estimate.
Yeah, I didn't.
Get the estimate.
You want to adjourn that until you get the estimate then?
Yeah, unless you have it, we can adjourn this.
I don't have it with me right here.
The motion to adjourn?
What's that?
I wonder, I couldn't find what change.
Yeah.
Right.
She said she had an estimate. She was going to forward it to me by today and didn't receive it yet. We'll adjourn this.
Okay, all right. So we're going to move to adjourn petition number 2023-0553 to a later date till we receive an estimate and response back from the applicant. Okay. Let's go back to moving on to our next case, which is, this is in regards to, here we go. Petition number 2023-0552, Rosser Development Group. Petitioners, and this is regarding a property at 16 Harbor Lock Road, City of Utica, Oneida, or City of Utica, County of Oneida. And this is a case we discussed at our last hearing, where the petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCR Part 1227, the 2020 existing building code section 1011.2.1 fire sprinkler system. And 19 NYCR Part 1221, the 2020 building code section 903.2.1.2 group A2, an automatic sprinkler system shall be provided throughout stories containing group A2 occupancies and throughout all stories of group A2 occupancy, to and including the levels of exit discharge serving the occupancy where one of the following conditions exist. The fire area exceeds 5,000 square feet, where the fire area has an occupant load of 100 or more. And the petitioner is seeking relief or variance to the required sprinkler system. Okay. Do we have the applicant here?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Do you want to provide us a summary of, I see there's some additional information that's sent to us. What would you like to share with us?
Well, you requested both of those reports from an architect, and that's what we sent you. I believe you were waiting on information from the city of Utica, and I haven't heard anything from them yet. So maybe Mr. Foster could fill us in on that. And I guess I'm waiting for you guys to review the information that we sent to determine this building is legal and to change it over to the proper way so we can move forward on our variances, is what I'm understanding.
Okay. Mr. Foster, can you share with us some information on this?
I can. So, Mr. DeTilio sent myself and the owner some information of what's needed. The owner solicited me for the information because I can get it a lot easier than he can. Unfortunately, just like we previously spoke about in our last meeting, the file or files are either missing, misplaced, or no one knows where they are. I met with our chief building inspector, Danny Koza, who's my counterpart on the code side, and he stated that he had a file for that particular building, but he did not provide me with the file yesterday. I'm meeting with him today after this web meeting to hopefully get the folder or the file with some information in it. I'm not sure what's in the folder, but hopefully it's going to have the information that Tom DiTilio emailed myself and the owner, and hopefully we can answer most of those questions in that email. Subsequently, I did send Tom an email, I believe it was yesterday or the day before. It could have been this morning, I actually forgot, stating that I would like to adjourn this particular case for January to give us a little bit more time, because I'm dealing interagency here and there's some things that's out of my control. He says he has the file, he hasn't produced it yet. I'm still waiting for it. So that's where we are right now.
Okay.
Did Mr. Coe know he had to provide this to us?
Say again, Grant?
Did Mr. Koza know that he had to provide this to us in an ample amount of time?
I'm not sure if I told him by December 21st, but I told him I needed the file, and he pretty much told me there is no file, and then he said he might have something on it, and I haven't received it as of yet. So I guess, I mean, I didn't tell him by a specific date, but this was almost 4 weeks ago when I asked him for the file.
Okay, Mr. DiTulio, what can you share with us about your knowledge of this case?
So from the information I've received from the code review, and that this is Tom DiTulio, Department of State Building Standards and Codes, 333 East Washington Street, Suite 514. The information that was conveyed to us from the architect that was provided by the owner is that it's a type 2B building, but it's got a fire separation between the first floor, the upper floor, and the lower floor, which is a 2-hour rated assembly, which separates us into 2 different fire areas. And that the lower area does not exceed the 99 people for A2 occupancy, but the upper floor does. Other than that, the rest of the building complies with the building code outside of not having the sprinkler system.
Did the building receive a certificate of occupancy?
They had previously copies of building certificates of occupancy, yes.
Has that been provided to us?
It wasn't provided to us, but we had acknowledgement from the original code official for the city of Utica that it was legally occupied at the time of the previous owner operating the restaurant.
But we don't have a letter to that case.
I don't have a letter of that case. I'm still awaiting their documentation.
Okay.
So let me interject on that, Mr. Chairman. When I spoke with Danny Koza yesterday, they have been issued a temporary C of O. I can get that to you later today. I'll email it to Mr. DiTilio.
Okay, so you don't have, they never were issued a CO when the building was constructed?
That I'm not sure. Again, that's something that would be in the file that again, I hate to use the word assume, but over the years, the buildings has had 1 or 2, 3 owners. I'm to assume that the building department has given the owners the certificate of occupancy for the use of the building. Once again, I'm not privy to the direct file, but I will be today if we have one. But I can give the board the temporary certificate of occupancy that was issued by Danny Koza.
Okay. I really don't want to adjourn this again, but I think that's I think in order to get all the appropriate documentation, we need to give the city time to do this. But unfortunately, I think what I'm concerned about is we have potentially have a legally occupied structure. You gave them a temporary CO, but the original building was not constructed as an assembly occupancy. It was converted. Originally, it was supposed to be like a museum or a mercantile. Is that a business mercantile? Is that my understanding, the original construction? And again, we need documents to say, what was the initial building permit? What was the initial occupancy? And was there a change of use applied? So I think the city needs.
From my understanding,
Yep.
we were issued a CO, a permanent CO within a month ago. They had to inspect the elevator shaft, which was all done and in compliance, and then the city issued us a permanent CO. I did have a temporary CO for upstairs because the downstairs had a permanent CO. They gave me a temporary until the elevator got inspected. That was done, and then they gave me a permanent CO for the upstairs. So to my knowledge, and I have it filed in my file, so the city should be able to produce a permanent CO for that building. I don't have a temporary one anymore.
Mr. Roser, this is Tom DiTulio. Could you please send a copy of that to me, please?
Yes, I can.
Just email and send me something, please.
Okay.
See,
Greg,
Mr. Roser, I'm already having a problem with what's been done. They issued a CO in error.
Right.
They issued a CO for an assembly occupancy without a sprinkler system. This is where we go back to the beginning of this, to find out where the error was, and then to figure out where we need the correction. Just because they issue a CO doesn't mean that the building is legal.
Oh, I agree. I'm just letting you guys know what the city has
Okay.
done. I'm just
Just
a bystander in all this, unfortunately, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, in essence, the building permit needs to be issued with knowing what the requirements are, and then they get a variance to the requirements, and that's where we're kind of gapped here.
Right. And the longer it takes, it keeps creating more damage potentially to my company.
I can't speak to that. I'm just trying to make sure what we do here is actually, we do it right.
I agree.
So the variance either goes back to the original construction, or we do a new permit. And we're looking for a change of use application somewhere down the pipeline. And so we're just trying to find out where we are with this. Was there a permit? Was there a legal change of use? All that stuff. And this is to protect you, to make sure that the city has done all its proper, and we want to make sure we do everything right. I think we're in the right pathway to address this, but I guess we're trying to make sure we get the city on board, since they were the previous owner.
But we're definitely incurring more costs trying to put this information together that the city should have been provided already, unfortunately.
Okay. Am I missing anything here? Anybody's?
I think if we choose to adjourn this, the January meeting, the code official of the city needs to be on the call, not just Mr. Foster.
Right.
I think he needs to be able to speak and give account for where they're at. Mr. Foster, your role as the fire code official is mildly limited in this case. You're looking at the fire code stuff, but our questions are for, like you said, another department. So I think it needs to be made clear that if we adjourn this, that the building department, that they need to have a representative who can speak in an authoritative manner and answer these questions and give us what they have.
Okay.
And also knowing what code that was used when this building was originally constructed, and what code was in effect when the change of use happened. It's very important to get those two items so that we know what we're actually giving you a variance for. Is it a variance for a previous code, which would have been back in 2000, or are we trying to make the building legal under a new building permit? So.
Guys, I just want to make sure I get that information, so when we do rehear this case, I could send out invitation to this WebEx.
I can provide you with his email, Barbara.
Okay. Name, address, everything.
Okay, I'll send that to you as soon as the meeting's over.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hinge on this being the legal. Right, so I think they've done, in order to have sort of due diligence.
Yeah, I think that's, Mr. Garlick brought up a point. We think that the owner has done his, what we asked of him, providing a code review of it. We're just trying to say, you know, his review is of the current code. What we want to, what's not caught here is what code was actually constructed. Was it built before 2000 and were we under the Green Book? Or was it built under the Green Book, then change of use happened under the 2001 code or 2000 code of the state of New York? So two different codes, two different requirements. We're trying to figure out how this was processed through the city so we can find an error. I would say that a couple questions. The separation between the kitchen and the dining area. I want to go back and visit that. So the kitchen here. Looking for the rating between kitchen and the showing. Doesn't show. They're not separated.
She's there, it's like there's a chase here.
So kitchen downstairs.
It's just the kitchen and downstairs.
Just downstairs. How do they move upstairs? To that left?
No.
Mr. Roser, how do you move food and from downstairs to upstairs?
There's a dumbwaiter.
Okay. Is that rated or?
Yeah, that's showing right. That would have to be as a chase.
Just kind of wonder
Stairs,
about the kitchen.
There's a chase here. The kitchen doesn't show existing separation from the remaining spaces other than your 2-hour floor or something.
Right.
So. That's all that.
Yeah, the difficulty is any kind of alteration or renovations. The original documents are here, so we don't know what.
Yeah, it could be illegal, it could be legally
It could
existing.
be legally done at the time, but we don't know that.
Right. Mr. Roser, one of the things that we're looking at, without a sprinkler system, for me, I was looking to see if there was a separation between the kitchen, a fire rating between the kitchen and the rest of the serving area. And which would be, you know, a mitigation for not having a sprinkler in this building. It's just something that's a higher hazard, the kitchen is, which is potential where a fire could start, is to provide some separation between the kitchen and the dining areas. So, but our drawings don't show any separation, and it may be related to, it's probably because there's the original construction documents were not available, which the building division or the code enforcement officer should have a copy of what the original drawings had. Mr. Roser, do you have any copies of the original construction documents when this building was constructed?
Yes, I sent all of the CAD drawings.
The originals?
We
Yep.
only have one that was used as the rest station for the project now. Not when it was converted to the restaurant.
Okay, so we don't have drawings for the conversion, we have the drawings from the original.
We had the original one as it's constructed as basically a business occupancy because it was a way station with restrooms, shower rooms.
Yep.
And up above it had vending and shops and stuff like that.
Quite a different usage from what it is.
It was more B and more M, mixed use.
Okay. We're just trying to go through a list of things we may need before we meet again.
These are all things the city should be able to provide, correct?
Correct.
even as the original owner, they must have had some, I don't know who did the change of uses. There should be some drawings for that change of use if the city is the owner. Even if they were the owner, there was a contractor involved and hopefully an architect involved.
What happens if the city cannot produce these? Did they sell me an illegal building, which is illegal and a felony?
I think you'll need to speak with your attorney about that.
Okay.
We're not attorneys here and I can't determine. What we're trying to do is get you to a point where you actually have a legal building and we can give you a variance to address the deficiencies it has. And the question I asked about the kitchen was part of a mitigation for not having a sprinkler system. So.
Yeah. Penetrations.
Okay. All right.
So, Mr. DiTullio, when you mentioned what Mr. Sabara sent you in the drawings, it is that building currently how it's operating based on his assessment is correct. Correct. Is that what I was getting from?
That's correct. And everything he gave me what he could visually identify. And outside of being on site during the renovation or alteration or construction and the change of occupancy, when it went from mixed use business mercantile over to an A2 restaurant or restaurant banquet hall, however he wants to call it, he wouldn't have that information. He would have no way of knowing unless he starts tearing stuff apart.
Gotcha.
And even that, he may not have an answer. Okay. You have to have the walls tested to see if it's fire rated or off. If you don't have any kind of identification in the backside of it.
So I'm just reviewing the code analysis to see if there's.
Oh, right here. Change your location.
Okay. Mr. Roser, I have to thank you for you did what we asked you regarding the code analysis. I think is the only thing we're trying to do is close the gap with what was approved and permits everything else. So.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
No, it's the code path history.
Yep. We're just, okay, that's the only thing we're lacking here is code path history of the building. Initial building permit, initial use, change of use permit, and a CO for that. And trying to find out. Making a jump from. Did this ever operate as that way station or that?
Sure. My understanding is from Mr. Foster, from the code official, and operated that way for about a year and a half, 2 seasons.
Okay. Mr. Foster.
Yes.
When did you issue the first operating permit for assembly use on this building?
So I never issued the operating permit. That would be under Chief Building Inspector Danny Koza. But normally he'll call me and we'll do a joint inspection. And then once we're both satisfied for our respective disciplines, then he goes back to the office and he writes up the paperwork and he issues the certificate. And he's supposed to send me a copy, but that never happens. But so that's the process the city has for any public assembly. We work together in tandem, but then he issues the actual C of Os and any permits.
Yeah, I mean, this assembly occupancy needs to get an annual inspection and needs to have an operating permit for assembly use. So I'm trying to find out when was the operating permit issued?
That I do not have in front of me. I'm actually out of the office. But I remember myself and Mr. Colza did do an inspection with Mr. Grant and his father. Grant, do you remember when we did that inspection?
Was it when we initially first bought the building?
Yeah, when you first bought the building. Remember when I pulled the fire alarm off the wall and it wasn't attached to anything?
Yep,
The
it was
post-
empty. Yep,
Right, it
yes.
was empty. Right, the poll station. I can't recall the date.
I believe it
but
was in 2018 is when we purchased the building, and this was our first
So,
run through.
Right. So, Mr. Chairman, that is the last time that I was in the building with Mr. Koza officially, and that's probably when he issued the certificate of occupancy, and we have not been in the building since then up until now. So the city is neglecting inspecting his property every year as an A2.
Who's, I'm sorry, I missed that last part. Who has
I
been
think-
inspecting it annually as an A2?
The fire department's supposed to be doing that.
And what you just said, it was inspected in 18 and then in 23, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I have no more, I need no more information, I guess, other
At the moment.
at the moment. So, hopefully the city of Utica can provide us some more information on this building so we can move forward in January.
In the
That-
last meeting, sir, you mentioned something about contacting the state, the state auditing or control. What you mentioned something about that? Can you
Mr.
clarify?
Roser, this is Tom DeTullio from the Department of State Building Standards and Codes. I did contact the Division of Building Standards and Codes Oversight Committee. They're the ones responsible. So if you want to file a complaint, I filed one for the board on the behalf of the board. You may wish to do that. I can give you contact information for that, but a complaint for how the inspections and how the records of the building have been filed on the board's behalf.
I would appreciate that.
I will forward you with a complaint form.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn this case till next month?
Make that motion?
Okay, a motion second.
I second.
Swistack second, pull the board. Scarlett. Swistack.
Aye.
Stindl.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4 ayes to adjourn this case until January. Sorry, Mr. Roser, I was hoping we were going to get through this today.
Me too. So there's nothing else on my end at this point I need to provide. Is that correct?
No, I think we're just waiting for the city of Utica so we can close the gap here and figure out what are the right next steps.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
thank
I
you.
hope you all have a great holiday and New Year's. And
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, we can go off the record. Thank you,